Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Soranandana Prajajana Ranjana Soranandana Yasoranandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Prabhupada Astatur Shishimad, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktyvedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Gaudiya Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavandam Ki Jai. Shri Maya Purnavidam Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Gau Premanandi, all glorious Sama devotees, all glorious Sama devotees, all glorious Sama devotees, all glorious to Shishi Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning I read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, text number 14 and 15. 14 is on the board, so I'll read that one first. Aham Mahendro Nirti Pachita Samo Agnir Isaha Pavano Virinchi Aditya Vishve Vavaso Vasavo Ta Sadya Marud Gana Rudra Gana Sasiddha Aham Mahendro Niti Pratiteta Samognya Isha Pavano Virinchi Aditya Visve Vasavota Sadya Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha Aham Mahendro Nirti Prachitesa Samognya Isha Pavano Virinchi Aditya Vishve Vishavota Tadya Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha Aham Mahendro Nirti Pachita Samognya Isha Pavano Virinchi Aditya Vishve Vasavota Sadhya Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha Mahendro Nirati Pacheta Samogna Nisa Pavano Virinchi
Aditya Vishve Vasavota Sadhya Aditya Vishve Vasavota Sadhya Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha Aham Mahendro Nirati Pracheta Aham Mahendro Nirati Pracheta Samogna Isha Bhavano Virinchi Samogna Isha Bhavano Virinchi Aditya Vishve Vasavota Sadhya
Aditya Vishve Vasavota Sadhya Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha Aham Mahendro Nirati Pacheta Samogna Isha Bhavano Virinchi Aditya Vishve Vasavota Sadhya Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha
Aham Mahendro Nirati Pracheta Aham Mahendro Nirati Pracheta Somo Virishav Pavano Virinchi Somo Virishav Pavano Virinchi Aditya Vishve Vasavota Sadhya Aditya Vishve Vasavota Sadhya Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha Aham Mahendro Nirati Pracheta Somo Virishav Pavano Virinchi Aditya Vishve Vasavota Sadhya Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha Aham Mahendro Nirati Pracheta Samo Virisha Pavano Virinchi Aditya Vishve Vasavota Sadhya Aditya Vishve Vasavota Sadhya Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha Marudgana Rudragana Sasiddha
Aham I Yamaraj Mahendra Indra the King of Heaven Nirti Nirti Who's that? Pracheta Varuna the controller of water Soma the moon Agni fire Ishaha Lord Shiva Pavana the demigod of the air Virinchi Lord Brahma Aditya the sun Vishve Vishvashu Vishavaha the 8 Vashus Ata also Sadhya the demigods Marudgana masters of the wind Rudragana the expansions of Lord Shiva Sasiddha with the inhabitants of Siddhaloka Anye others Cha and Ye who Vishvashraja Mrichi and other creators of the universal affairs Namara Ishaha the demigods like Brihaspati Bhrigu Adaya the great sages headed by Bhrigu Asprishta who have not been contaminated Rajatamaska by the lower modes of material nature Rajaguna and Tamaguna Yasya of whom Ihitam the activity Navidhu do not know Spristamaya who are illusioned by the illusory energy Sattva-pradhanaha, chiefly in the mode of goodness. Api, although. Kim, what to speak of. Tata, then them. Anye, others. So read the other verse too. Anye chiye vishwa shujo maresha bring vadhayo sprista rajasta maskaha yasye hitam na vidu sprista maya sattva padhana apiking tatonye. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada-ki. I, Yamaraj, Indra, the King of Heaven, Niriti, Varuna, Chandra, the Moon God, Agni, Lord Shiva, Pavana, Lord Brahma, Surya, the Sun God, Vishvasu, the 8 Vasus, the Asadyas, the Maruts, the Rudras, the Siddhas, and Marichi, and the other great ṛṣis engaged in maintaining the departmental affairs of the universe, as well as the best of the demigods headed by Brihaspati, and the great sages headed by Bhrigu, are all certainly freed from the influence of the 2 base material modes of nature, namely passion and ignorance. Nevertheless, although we are in the mode of goodness, we cannot understand the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What then is to be said of others who, under illusion, merely speculate to know God? Purport. The men and other living entities within this cosmic manifestation are controlled by the 3 modes of nature. For the living entities controlled by the base qualities of nature, passion and ignorance, there is no possibility of understanding God. Even those in the mode of goodness, like the many demigods and great ṛṣis described in these verses, cannot understand the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad-gītā, one who is situated in the devotional service of the Lord is transcendental to all the material qualities. Therefore, the Lord personally says that no one can understand Him but the Bhaktas, who are transcendental to all material qualities. Bhaktyā Mām Abhijānāti, Bhagavad-gītā 18:55. As stated by Bhishmadev to Maharaj Yudhisthira in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.9.16, Na yasya karichid rajan puman veda vidhitsatam yad vigya saya yukta muhyanti kavayopihi. O King, no one can know the plan of the Lord, Sri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. No one therefore can understand God by speculative knowledge. Indeed, by speculation one will be bewildered. Muyanti. This is also confirmed by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad-gītā 7.3. Manushyanam sahasresu kaschidhyati siddhaye yatatam abhisidhanam kaschyam mam veti tatputaha. Among many thousands of men, one may endeavor for perfection, and even among the siddhas, those who have already become perfect, only one who adopts the process of bhakti, devotional service, can understand Krishna. Srila Prabhupada-ki jai. Om Jnanatamandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshram Litam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Koti Vachalam Pungam Hayate Grim Yatkripa Tadaham Vande Shigaram Dinataranam Manchakalpa Tubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Jnanam Bhavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Asadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In this purport, Prabhupada mentions this very important verse. Bhaktyā Mām Abhijānāti Yavanyas Chasmi Tattva Tato Mam Tattva Togyadva Vishate Tadanatram. That one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of Him through such devotional service, one can enter into the kingdom of God. So what is devotional service? Devotional service means engaging in activities that are pleasing to Krishna. There's a verse in the Bhagavad-gītā which Prabhupada says is the essence of the entire Bhagavad-gītā. Mad karma krin, mad parama, mad bhakta sangavardita, nirvaira sarvabhutesu, yasamameti pandava. That one who works for me. Throughout the world, people are working so hard. Devotees are working for Krishna. And if we work for Krishna, then we get awarded very nicely. There's so many nice examples in our movement, contemporary, where devotees are getting awarded very nicely because of their sincere devotional service. Just like Radhanath Swami, he, when he started his Krishna consciousness, he was milking cows. That was his service. And then he was a pujari. And then by Krishna's arrangement, he became he took sannyas. Actually, he didn't want to take sannyas, but he was kind of forced to take sannyas. And he became such an ideal preacher. In India now, there's about 40 satellite temples, centers coming from Chapati. So Krishna's awarded him great Shakti to spread Krishna consciousness. And one of the most amazing things I've heard, actually the most amazing thing I've heard this year, maybe some of you don't know, in England, there's one temple in Leicester, and the part of the temple blew up. And devotees didn't know what to do. They didn't have much money. What are they going to do? They wanted it was just a house. It wasn't really. It was a house there. I had been there about 15 years ago. So they didn't know what to do with it. Well, let's actually try to get a temple. We don't want to fix up this old house. So they were looking around, and they found this. They found this old bank. They thought, well, let's find out what they're asking for it. It looks like it'd be nice for a temple. So they found out. They found out that it's. They found out that they're asking 10 million pounds, which is about $12 million. Well, that's way out of their range. They had 50,000 pounds. So, but there was a devotee that worked for the person that owned that bank. So we told this owner of this bank that there's some people that are interested in buying it, but they don't have much money. He just thought he'd just tell him, you know. And then there was a program at the bank, and somehow Radhanath Swami was there speaking to devotees, and that this owner of the bank happened to be there. I guess the Indian devotee must have invited him to hear Radhanath Swami speak. And after Radhanath Swami spoke for about 20 minutes, this owner of the bank said, are these the people that want this bank? He said, yeah. Just give it to them. That's a $12 million donation in a 20-minute talk. Result of a 20-minute talk. $12 million. But the Indian man said, the devotee, said, no, better they give something. Otherwise, there might be some legal things we have to deal with. Let them give whatever they can give, and then you just let them have it. He said, okay. So they gave 300,000 pounds, which is nothing compared to what it was worth. So that's Shakti. That's potency. Speak for 20 minutes and someone decides to give a $12 million donation. So they're there now. They have a nice temple. So he's been awarded with this Shakti to speak and inspire people to engage in devotional service. Vaisheshika Prabhu as well. He's inspiring devotees all over the world to distribute books. And I had been going up at ISV, the temple up there, for years, many years, decades. And there was not many devotees visiting. Now it's got a whole... It's so packed, some people don't go because it's too packed. Temple room's too packed. And yeah, he's inspiring devotees all over the world to distribute books. And so he's getting awarded. If we take shelter of Krishna, if we serve Krishna, then Krishna, he awards us. It's like in Ukraine. It's amazing. And it's like one time a devotee asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, if there's a war, what do we do? Who knows what he said? He said, we chant Hare Krishna. Just chant Hare Krishna. So in Ukraine there's a war, but they're not just chanting Hare Krishna, they're still distributing books. They went above and beyond duty, a war. Amazing. And continuing on with their other services. So devotees are being awarded with this determination to engage in devotional service. Yeah. So if we please Krishna, then we get awarded. Yeah. Like Prabhupada gives the example of a soldier in war who kills many enemies under the direction of the government, and he gets a Medal of Honor. This is the highest medal that one can get, Medal of Honor. But then he goes back to his country and he kills one person. And then they put him on death row. Now this person might go to the judge and say, but Judge, Your Honor, I killed so many people, I got the Medal of Honor, now I kill one person and you put me on death row. Yes, but you didn't do that under the direction of the government. You did that out of your own ego, your pride. So therefore you get punished. So we're doing so many things for Krishna. And it may appear like it's material. It's like Prabhupada in India, Vrindavan, he had taken sannyas and he was printing books. And someone might say, well, what kind of a sannyasi is that? Printing books and selling books. But it's not a material activity. It's under the direction of Krishna. Completely transcendental. It's like Govardhan Prabhu was saying how some people were complaining, oh, this is the con. It looks like a material activity. Selling stuff, getting money, selling. You're supposed to be a monk. What's this? And there are con men out there. I remember we had this, what do they call it? Friday night, Friday night light, no, December nights. They call it December nights. Friday and Saturday night at the park. So there's these guys going around there, and they're hacking these CDs, selling CDs. And they know it's illegal, but they got caught, and police came, took them, and went to jail. So it looks like the same thing. They're selling things, we're selling things. It looks like a con, but no, completely different. We're doing it for Krishna. We're doing it for Krishna. And therefore we get awarded. Krishna gives mercy. If we go out and distribute this transcendental knowledge, then Krishna, he helps us to understand him. Atashi Krishnamadi nabhavet grayamindriya sevan mukhi jivada swayameva spratida. That one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, His name, form, qualities, and pastimes with one's blunt material senses. But when Krishna is pleased with our activities, with our devotional service, then He reveals Himself. So therefore, this is what is most important, is that we engage in devotional service, we engage in activities that are pleasing to Krishna. Just like, as many of you may know, around the world, the economy is down, currency is down. Even in Europe now, the dollar is stronger than the euro. The pound is down now in England. But in America, the US dollar is very strong. And one may ask, well, why is that? Anybody know? Yes. Prabhupada said the reason America is so opulent, because it's the only country in the world where in all the currency, there's "in God we trust." So Krishna is reciprocating. Yeah. Our forefathers were actually very God conscious. And when Prabhupada first came, he was impressed to see so many churches. Of course, now it's decreasing some. Due to the people are frustrated seeing all the cheating in religion. But our beginning forefathers are very God conscious, yeah? And that's why in this country there's freedom of speech, freedom of religion. It's also the only country in the world where we can go to any public place and distribute books. We go to universities, even in India. I went to the universities there trying to distribute books, and they said, "No, you can't do this. You have to go to the president and get permission, and if they allow, then you can do it." That's why I went. And the person that was the president was pious Hindu, so I said, "Yeah, you go ahead." But if it wasn't a pious Hindu, an atheist, wouldn't do it. But in America, any public university were allowed to do it. Any public place, we're allowed to do it. So this is our great fortune, allowing us to distribute so many books. So there's an interesting statement here by Bhishma that Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that no one can know the plan of the Lord. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. But there are some plans of Krishna that we know. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam sajamyam. Whenever and wherever there's a decline in religious practice and a decline in religious activities, at that time I descend myself. So we know this is the plan of Krishna. He comes and he speaks the Bhagavad-gītā. Thank Krishna. He came and spoke the Bhagavad-gītā. Because so many devotees have come because they're reading the Bhagavad-gītā. Although it's not an easy read, it's a powerful read. It's a powerful message. And many people buy the Bhagavad-gītā from me because they've heard so many quotes of the Bhagavad-gītā in other books that they read. It's amazing. And Krishna spoke it 5,000 years ago. Why? For this reason. So that people are inspired to hear the Bhagavad-gītā. And from hearing the Bhagavad-gītā, one gets purified. One can become so purified by reading Bhagavad-gītā that one can become qualified to enter into the kingdom of God, go back home. That's how powerful this Bhagavad-gītā is. So we know that plan. And also it's stated, Pritiviti achayatan nagaradigram sarva tapatoyo moyana, that the name of Sri Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, will be spread throughout the world, every town and village throughout the world. So this is the plan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to spread the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And he sends his pure devotee. So he's got a plan. Krishna's got a plan, and we know that plan. He sends his pure devotee to inspire us to engage in devotional service. Because this is what is most needed throughout the world, devotional service. When people throughout the world, they're engaging in service, but serving their senses. They're serving their mind, they're serving their senses, and they're serving their family, and they're serving the country, but not Krishna. And therefore, what a waste. What a waste of the human form of life. So when we distribute books, we're giving people an opportunity to utilize this human form of life properly. As we heard this morning in the reading, Samastataye padapalava plavam mahatparam punya somarare bhavam buddhir vatsa param 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 yadvi param natesam. That for one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, then this entire vast ocean of material existence becomes no bigger than the water contained in the hoofprint of a calf. And what is their destiny? Their destiny is the spiritual world, not this place where there's danger at every step. So we have to take shelter of Krishna. This is the best shelter. And how do we take shelter of Krishna? By hearing. It's the best way. And therefore, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Bhava, you got to hear the glories of Krishna again and again and again and again. And eventually, it'll penetrate our thick skull and touch our heart. Go straight to the heart. From hearing comes understanding. So you have to hear attentively, and Krishna, he will help us to advance in Krishna consciousness. And this is the perfection of life, to become Krishna conscious. In this age, it's not easy, of course. It's stated, Kalar doshanid, Kalar doshan heyrajan, Kalar doshan heyrajan, asti heka mahadyan, kirtanade of Krishna, mukta sangha, param brajat. That in this age of Kali, the only way Kalar doshanid heyrajan is to get purified is by taking shelter of the holy name. There's so many faults in this age. Kalar dosha. Dosha means faults. So there's so many faults, but the one good quality of this age is that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, we can become completely purified of all contamination and go back home, back to Godhead. So this is another plan of the Lord. He's come and He's given the holy name. So this is the plan of the Lord, that we somehow get purified. There's another statement in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Kala kalir balina indriya vairi varga Sri Bhakti Marga Ekantrika Kuti Roda. That this age of Kali, it's a very degraded age. And this age is spiked by millions of thorny obstacles. Millions of them. So what to do? So many obstacles. But Krishna is very powerful, and He could destroy all the obstacles on our path to devotional service. The senses are so powerful, the mind is so powerful, so difficult to chant, attentive rounds. Isn't it such a challenge every morning to chant attentive rounds? The mind is such a rascal. And the main obstacle is our mind. Of course, the senses also. But we just have to pray to Krishna for sincerity, to transform this mind into a devotee. Yeah. And the more we get purified, the more we become a devotee, the more we'll be able to convince others to take Prabhupada's books and to become devotees themselves. So I wanted to mention something that I heard recently, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He says, this material world is an examination hall. It's an examination hall. We're being watched constantly. Does this devotee have tolerance, compassion? Is he developing the good qualities of a devotee? Purity, kindness, tolerance, forgiveness. So we're being watched, just like in prisons. The prisoners, they're being watched. And if they're good prisoners, if they have good behavior, they get out on good behavior. They get out early if they're good prisoners. So we had our karma due to our past activities, and it wasn't good. It didn't look good due to our past activities. But now we're taken to Krishna consciousness, and He's watching, He's observing our activities. So He wants to see purity. This is what He's looking for. Because in the spiritual world, there's only purity. So if we want to go back to the spiritual world, we have to be pure servants of Krishna. Otherwise, if we go back to the spiritual world and we're not pure, we'd be a social disturbance. Right? Because everyone's pure. We can't go there. We can't enter. We can't enter with any impure desires. Just like now, they have metal detectors. You want to go to on a plane. There's metal detectors. You can't even go on with water. It's crazy. So you can't even go on a plane if you have certain things. What to speak of the spiritual world? Yeah. Everything is detected. Sometimes you can. One time I went on a plane with a knife. I forgot I had a knife in my bag, and they didn't detect it. So I got on the plane with a knife. So they're imperfect detectors. Yeah. But we can't sneak into the spiritual world. Everything is very subtle. Everything, any subtle desires we may have are seen. So you can't sneak into the spiritual world. So we have to take this very seriously, this human form of life, and try our best. And Krishna will help us. So, maybe I'll leave some time for questions, if there is any, or comments, or corrections. Any on Zoom? We haven't heard from our Vijay Krishna for a while. Maybe he's on the marathon. He's probably on the marathon. Yeah, he distributes books. Yes.
Hare Krishna. You talked about the qualities of a person that can talk, and then people turn over millions of dollars. What was that word? It started with an S?
Shakti.
Shakti. Okay, how do I get more Shakti?
Well, the first thing is when you enter the temple room, it's very important to offer respects to the deities. Very important. As soon as we enter the temple room, we pay obeisances out of respect to the deity and to Prabhupada. There's a statement in the Bhagavad-gītā, Deva Dvija Guru Pragya Pujanam Sochimavichay Brahmacharyam Ahimsa Cha Sarira Tapa Uchate. This is the austerities of the body. I remember when I was growing up, just a little brat, a little puffed up kid, I said, I'll never bow down to anybody. And then Krishna humbled me, and I bowed down. A lot of people won't bow down. It's like interesting when Prabhupada first started the movement. There was people coming to hear Prabhupada, and some of them were taking it seriously, and they would see Prabhupada bow down before his spiritual master. He would make an offering, and they start bowing down to Prabhupada. So some of the other people who had never seen that, bowing down to Prabhupada, they thought, why are they bowing down? So even in one class, they said, why are these people bowing down to you? They asked Prabhupada. Pretty bold. So Prabhupada said, just as you're asking, why are they bowing down to me, they're asking, why aren't you bowing down? So when someone is spiritually advanced, we bow down to them. So offering respects is so important. Being respectful to the Supreme Authority, Krishna. Being respectful to Srila Prabhupada. Deva Dvija Guru, Pragya, the saintly persons, the Guru. Deva Dvija Guru Pragya Saucham. Deva Dvija Guru Pragya Saucham. You have to be clean. You have to be clean also. We take bath twice a day. Prabhupada used to say that in India, it may be cold, but still they bathe twice a day, and they have clean cloth. Even someone's very poor, still they clean their cloth, and twice a day they bathe. And in the summertime, it may be very hot, but still the ladies, they will cook. It's austerity. So austerity, actually it's described that austerity is the wealth of the brahmanas. It may be difficult to do something, but the brahmanas will accept the difficulty as a way to get purified. Just like the other day I was on book distribution, and it was very purifying. Very purifying. For like 3.5 hours I distributed just a few books. They're very difficult. And I was thinking, okay, this is one of those purifying days. And then Krishna, again, he gave some mercy, and books were going out again. So, yeah, that's a nice thing about book distribution. It helps us to develop this humility. Humility is so important. I was just reading in the Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna, he says that there's 20 characteristics of someone who is in knowledge, and the first one is humility, and then pridelessness, which is not much difference, right? Let's find out what's the difference. Is humility, thinking of oneself, very low, and think of oneself, others superior, but pridelessness. What's the difference between pridelessness? Yes, Devita Prabhu, he'll give us a definition. That is right from the Bhagavad-gītā, 13th chapter. Yeah. So,
yeah, amanitvam is amanin amanadena. It's definitely humility as we know it. Adambitvam is pridelessness, but it's free of false pride. The thing about damba is that you have nothing to be proud about, but you're actually pretense and show, trying to lord it over others, even though you're unqualified. That pretense aspect is what makes it damba.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I had a question.
Yes.
I have a comment and a small correction. First of all, I want to thank you very much for giving a very nice class. You read the purport at a nice pace. Your sadhana obviously contributes to your ability to do that, and you embellish the class with nice examples and some stories. And for those of us living outside, this is a lifeline, and it's just awesome. So I wanted to thank you for that, and also for not using it as a bully pulpit. There's some controversial topics nowadays, like the origin of the jiva or the inherency of bhakti. Bhagavatam class is not the time to discuss those things, and especially not to use the Vyasa-san as a bully pulpit to put forward one's particular pet understanding of those issues, and you didn't do
Prabhu,
that.
I did. Oh, okay.
so
Go
much.
ahead. Okay.
I really appreciate that. And the correction was there's two words, award and reward.
Oh, okay.
They're similar. They're different words. They mean different things. Dravida Prabhu can enlighten us, or anyone who wants to, about the difference between those words. But when we use language appropriately, it makes our message more
So we were, a devotee is rewarded, are you saying, instead of awarded?
Yeah,
Is that-
award
is
is,
that-
there are two words that mean similar things, but they're
Yeah,
also
so
different.
Dravida is going to give us the differences.
Thank you.
We have a dictionary right here. Thank you, Prabhu.
What was this inherent in Bhakti? Well, like whether your Swarup, like, yeah, your Swarup is already there or not. I think it's part of it.
Okay, well, listen. Reward, just like it's common, that someone will advertise, I lost my cat, and if you can find and return it, then I'll reward you with $100 or something like that. Reward is for something done, then you reward someone for it. An award can be just because
Done something
you accomplished
good.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
you accomplished something that's helpful or whatever. In other words, it doesn't have to be for any kind of recompense for something.
So I think I used the word award,
But in what context?
that the devotees are awarded mercy from serving Krishna. So that would be correct?
Yes.
So that's correct, okay. Okay. So,
Yeah, I would disagree. I would say because it's a reciprocation, you're rewarded.
No, that's what I said. I mean,
give the mic back to Dravida. Continues.
Reward. I'm quoting the Shastra here.
The dictionary.
Yeah. To recompense or requite a person or animal, okay, for service, merit, achievement. To make return or requite a service, merit, recompense. So there's a kind of an exchange, Award is something you win just because there's a competition and then you won until you get first place, second place, third place. It's not necessarily tit for tat. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
That's not the award is for service rendered for 30 years in the company, then they award you like that.
Okay. Thank you. So we have a question from...
Just a question
Dimitri.
about offering obeisances.
Yeah.
Isn't that like an art, actually, to offer obeisances? Because you can't just walk in a temple and offer obeisance thinking about something, mundane. You have to actually meditate, on lotus feet of your guru or Srila Prabhupada. And maybe if you can expand a little bit and talk about how to properly consciously offer obeisances.
Yes, Prabhupada, sometimes devotees that were his servants or secretary, they would come in and Prabhupada called it the hatchet. They would put so he called it hatchet. No hatchet. What's this hatchet of obeisances? Just touching your head and you go. But yeah, it should be done actually with devotion. You say the prayer and you're actually thinking of the spiritual master, you're thinking of Krishna. So yeah, it's very important. Devotion is, it's very important. So that paying obeisances is supposed to be, it's a devotional activity. We're meditating on. Yes, Dravida has something to say again. Give Dravida the...
Number one, the song we sing, those who attend the Guru Puja, which we're supposed to do every day. Prabhupada said it's most important. Shri Guru Chadanapana Kevala Bhakti said, Bandho mui savadhanam mate. Bandho means one day I bow down, savadhana, with great attention, with great presence of mind. And that's why it's important to utter the prayer, to Prabhupada, or, Vanchakalpatarubhishcha, you talk about coming into the temple, you're offering. There's a book, Gopi Puran's book, translated by Sanatana Goswami, called Krishna Lila Stava. It goes through Krishna's Vrindavan Lila, summary form, and within the verses he inserts, I bow down, is I think about 108 obeisances. In the introduction, or the first part of that book, Gopi Purana he quotes a passage, I think, from Padma Purana, explaining the inner meaning of bowing down, of Namah. First of all, he says there's different levels of bowing, of Vandam. Just like you go on Indian Airlines, and they don't call them stewardesses, but forgive me, that's what I call them, stewardesses. They'll greet you, namaste, namaste. But it's not much to it, it's more or less hello, it's a polite, there's not much in it. Then there's the bent bowing down, which is the next level, which can be very serious, In fact, ladies are supposed to do that. We very rarely see them doing dandavats because they know nothing. One time I saw one lady, didn't know what she was doing. Dandavat, everyone was doing dandavat. But the full dandavats, what does namaha mean? Namaha means not mine. This body is not mine, Prabhupada, it's yours. Oh, Krishna, not mine, it's yours. So there's a deep meaning to it.
Yeah.
So that's with attention. Everything has to be done with attention. The significance of the bowing down, and that's why Prabhupada wanted us to utter the prayer. That you didn't have time. It just becomes superficial.
Yeah. Okay, right behind you is the mic, right next to your head. Oh. Yeah. Oh, anyway.
Maitreya, you got a question?
Maitreya? Are you still there, Maitreya?
No, I like Dimitri Prabhu's question. That'll suffice for me. Excellent question, excellent answer. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki